I mean, it probably is fair to say that if we've got, what, 7 million drivers in this province of Ontario, if they all tomorrow wanted to go out and buy a hybrid car, they couldn't do it, could they? I mean, it's physically impossible.
No, and it's a very expensive way of offsetting our emissions.
What I find interesting about moving towards electric-powered vehicles is that you reduce the emissions coming out of the tailpipes, you shift them to the power plants, but there's far fewer power plants than there are cars.
Even if the power came 100% from coal-fired generators, which are the dirtiest plants, which I want to see shut down, you would actually have less greenhouse gas emissions by using a plug-in hybrid. And frankly, the electricity system is a lot easier to clean up than our liquid fuels.
I was hedging my bets on it. I'd buy a diesel now, a Volt type of plug-in hybrid in 5 years, and in 15 years buy a hydrogen. That's my best bet as to where they're all going to go.
Why would you recommend that continuum?
Diesels are, as I mentioned earlier on, the costs benefit, the ease of use, everything else, known technologies, an instant way to get better fuel economy right now. I think the kind of electric car with a gasoline or fuel cell or diesel backup like the Volt is the future of the cars until we can literally get away completely from that type of power plant into something like a fuel cell hybrid even, or whatever. But some of the other technologies will be peripheral, but my bet would be on those.
What we need are more energy efficient cars, whatever fuel they're riding in, driving on, they need to be using less of it.
There's estimated, I heard when last time I was in Japan, I think it was $10,000 a minute being invested by the global auto sector on green issues, and that's a lot of money. So they're going to solve it, and it's going to help Ontario.
A Prius doesn't save much fuel economy over a Toyota Corolla, and yet it gets lots of positive media. You take a Yukon hybrid, and percentage-wise, it gets a lot better economy over the equivalent thing, and that's the kind of truck people are buying. So it actually has a gross effect. If you could replace all those regular Yukons with the Yukon hybrid, you'd actually be doing something. But the environmental lobby doesn't like those vehicles.
One thing that has come forward now, of course, is the U.S. energy bill. It requires a 40% improvement on fuel economy. It takes the U.S. to 35 miles per gallon. In Canada, imperial gallon, it's actually 42 miles per gallon, or 6.7 liters per 100K. We need this uniform North American approach to fuel economy. Use the economies of scale that go with the larger market. Help keep costs down, because when we keep the costs down, people are more likely to buy the technology, and we buy more technology goes out into the market more broadly, more quickly, more environmental benefits sooner.
I think one of the big mistakes we did here in the U.S. is we used ethanol. We said that's going to be the answer. They went and built all these plants. The government invested all this money, and now we have plants that are absolutely stagnant with no employees, and no one's using ethanol. So we decided to do the same thing with hydrogen down here. We built great hydrogen vehicles. I have also drank the exhaust out of a Ford Edge and out of a Chevrolet Equinox, and they work great, and the technology is there. Our government then pulled all the technology, all the monies that were going to that, and now they're switching to battery technology. They need to give these technologies a chance to showcase their capabilities, and compressed natural gas as well as hydrogen are great solutions.
If we define electric cars as pure electric cars, there will be very, very, very few sales. If we start expanding it into extended range electric vehicles, there'll be far more in the distant future.
You know, some people think the vehicle companies control this agenda. Others will say car dealers are in the mix, and the governments are saying, boy, you got to do it. It's the consumer, ultimately, that's going to make all these decisions. And the consumer can find a way around any regulation and anything, you know.